Okay, so welcome back again to Warwick League with me, your host, Tom Taraby's Coward, and my co-host, Rory Roysauce Wiltshire. Now we are now looking at another game from Warwick's perspective, obviously. This is Big Bag Warwick versus Imperial... Big Buff Warwick, sorry, my bad, versus Imperial Penguins.
Yeah, so Buff Warwick probably our second or third best Warwick team. It's going to be contested, I'm sure Firefang will have something to say about that. But they won their last game in the S League, and so the way it works is basically it's sort of like a ladder system. So when you beat someone, you take their seeding. So I was just informed by the Buff Warwick captain that they have gone 15th seed, and Imperial Penguins I think are 18th. So this is at the sort of very top of the S League, and so this is high level play, and both teams are going to want to win this, get that high seeding, and get into the wildcard tournament at the end of the month.
Yep, and straight away we see Nar and Aurelia banned out by the Penguins, which is it's definitely taking a pick at the top lane there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be Salamander in the top laner for Buff Warwick, and I know he does play a lot of Nar and Aurelia. I don't know how deep his champion pool is, so if they are going to target ban that and sort of shut him down, this is probably a good way to go about it.
Definitely so. But there is still the Lysandra open, so we'll see if that gets through. I definitely feel, though, as though there aren't too many stronger picks than Lysandra right now.
Yeah, I think they're sort of the four main top lane champions, being Nar, Aurelia, Lysandra, and Rumble. I think they're sort of the top four of the top lane, and then you have other stuff, sort of like Maokai and Malphite, sort of in sort of the A tier. And with two of them being banned away, it's going to be interesting to see what does get picked up in the top lane.
Yeah, so if Lysandra does get through here, I would not be surprised to see her picked up. But we will see. And Graves is taken away, so will we see a Lysandra from the blue team? I mean, there could very well be a better pick for the picker. And they take the Vi. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I know the Buff Warwick jungler is quite proficient on the Vi pick. It's also just, it's very strong, you know, especially if there's a very immobile AD carry on the side of Imperial Penguins, or an immobile mid laner. Just having the Vi in there, just shutting them down, getting the ult on. It's a very good tactic.
Yeah, but I don't feel like Vi is necessarily the first pick worthy champion, but we will see. I mean, especially with Lysandra open, but perhaps Salamander doesn't play it, we will see. So they're going to take their bot lane by the look of it, hovering over the Corki and the Braum. Not exactly the bot lane with the most synergy.
Yeah, Braum obviously favours more attack speed, more auto-attack based AD carries to work with his passive, sort of Lucian, Jinx does well. There's not too much synergy with the Braum passive in Corki, because Corki's been more of a caster, but they both bring a lot of high burst, and so it could work alright.
Yeah, we'll see if we actually get the 2v1 this time, because we haven't actually seen any of those yet. We will definitely see how they come out. So 2 more picks for Warwick's side here. Most of the game's still open, we haven't picked any lanes. They're hovering over the Orianna. Would you like to see Orianna pick this early?
It's very risky, you know, there's still a lot of strong mid laners open that do well against Orianna. There's stuff like Zed, as we saw in our first game of the night. Alessandro mid against Orianna can go very bad, and so it could be risky, but we have to see what Imperial pick.
Yeah, they do take the Janna away as well, which is a decent pick. I mean, it goes well with Vi, actually, because you can shield the Vi, and she does a little bit more damage with her ult, which never a bad thing, really. Vi does have a decent amount of burst, so Janna's pretty good for control, especially against the Braum and the Corki. That's a good pickup, but yes, I definitely am a little bit worried about the Orianna early pick, as a strong jungler can definitely hurt Ori quite hard.
Yeah, definitely, but Imperial pickup, it looks like they're going for the Xerath Rek'Sai, Rek'Sai being one of the strongest jungle at the moment, and Xerath being a very good mid laner. At the moment it looks like they're going for more sort of poke orientated comp. They have the Corki with the rockets, they've got the Xerath with sort of most of his abilities, and also the Rek'Sai can chuck out, what is it, the W?
It's the Q, the
Q.
Burrowed Q.
The Burrowed Q, that also has a bit of range on it as well, so especially if they pick up something last in the top lane, maybe something like a Nidalee, maybe like a Mundo, or a Jace even, they can have a really strong poke comp going.
Yeah, definitely so, and they don't have a bad front line at all with the Rek'Sai and the Braum, so Imperial Penguins' team is looking pretty nicely rounded out. I don't know what you'd like to see in the top lane just to finish it off, but on Warwick's side, we're hovering over the Shaco. Would you actually expect that? I'm not too sure.
I can't remember the last time I've seen a Shaco in an actual Fives game. It's very strong solo queue champion, but I feel, especially on this team comp, especially because they already have the Vi, I can't see Shaco being picked up.
And we could be seeing Jinx for the 3rd time today, and Lysandra, who does actually manage to get through to the end, but we were talking about her. Picking out Lysandra definitely wouldn't be a bad idea, although there is a lot of damage on Warwick's side and not too much tankiness, so it will definitely be a case of, if they can get ahead early, they may very well end this game very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think at the moment I'm actually favouring Warwick's team comp. As I said, Imperials have more poke and they have the range game, but what counters that is just hard engage. And if you've got Lissandra using the Claw to get in, you've got the Vi ultimate, then you combine that with the Jinx AoE and Orianna ult, and if they can get a good initiation off, then they could go a really bad spell team fight.
Yeah, that's very true, especially with Xerath on the other side. A Vi coming flying towards your Arcane Mage is not going to help you out too well, especially when she smashes down and then you get Orianna ulted straight off it. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe Braum can protect them, but his shield is only so big.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the best peel support. It's not bad, but against the likes of a Lissandra and a Vi, it's going to be very tough. And it's going to have to see if Warwick can get that focus on the mid lane, shut down that Xerath with just repeated ganks with the Vi ultimate, get the Orianna going. It could be a very good sort of progression into the mid and late game for Warwick.
Yeah, definitely so. So let's see the last pick here for Imperial Penguins. Is there anything that really will help them out here? I mean, teamfight-wise, they can do well, but it will require them to set it up, and Poppy is definitely an interesting pick.
Yeah, so we've got top lane to the left. I need to see what they pick up. Like, they could try and supplement their sort of and complement their team comp with more poke like a Jace, but I think they need some sort of peel to avoid the heavy initiation from Warwick.
Yeah, definitely some kind of disengage, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. They are actually going to pick up the Poppy. That's very interesting, especially against Lissandra. I feel like Poppy's mana costs are just too high. You're going to get pushed in by Lissandra and you're really going to struggle. So maybe they'll look for the 2v1, but even there, Poppy's not a champion that's going to come out ahead in a 2v1.
Yeah, I don't like the Poppy pick, to be honest. It's not going to have a great laning phase against Lissandra, or in the case they do the 2v1, and it sort of doesn't really fit with the team comp. They want to sort of poke from range, get them low, and then sort of get a pick or something, but they're sort of Poppy doesn't fit with that, because what they're going to do, poke him out with Xerath and Corki, and then Poppy's going to try and dive in, but she's going to be basically going alone. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely. So even with the Poppy ult, you can't really see her soloing the entire team, and there's a lot of CC on the side of Warwick, and I don't really feel that the Imperial has the same presence there, but we will see how it plays out. If they get ahead early, then perhaps Poppy can become the unstoppable monster that she was born to be. I mean, just look at that blue face.
Yeah, exactly. If she does get ahead and does want to go for a split push, maybe comp that could work. Buff Warwick are going to be looking for sort of more teamfight orientated with the Jinx, with the Orianna, with the Lissandra. So if Imperial can avoid that by going for a split push comp and then siege up with the rest four, that could work in their favour.
Yeah, definitely so, but I'm still not convinced on the Poppy pick. I mean, with Jax was open, we could have potentially played Jax, Rumble. There were still top laners there, but we were talking about the fact they took away Gnar and Aurelia, and suddenly that closed off the very top tier picks very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely not a meta pick, the Poppy isn't, but maybe DS Dan is going to be a Poppy god and going to solo carry 1v5, so...
I think we've all seen the real Poppies running around destroying everyone. I mean, Poppy passive on top of Poppy ult really does do a lot of damage, so we'll see how that plays out. Are we expecting a 2v1? Probably not. Who has the strongest 2v2 lane there then? I mean, Jinx Janna is always strong. Corki, Braum, like we said before, doesn't have the best of synergies, but it's a Corki.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Buff. I think Jinx Janna's just very strong. You put the shield on Jinx, get her rockets down, that's going to be doing a hell of a lot of damage to the Corki. And sort of, as I said before, Braum Corki doesn't have that much synergy. If you get a slow from Braum, it makes it easy to land the rockets, but Corki doesn't have the kit to pop the passive super quick. And just the synergy's not quite there, so I would give it to Buff.
Yeah, definitely so, but I would like to point out that Janna did take Ignite into the game, which is something that you wouldn't really expect on a Janna most of the time.
Yeah, that is a very strange pick. There's not too much to exhaust. Imperial maybe might want to chuck it down to the Poppy, but they're sort of at that range, so maybe the exhaust might not be a good pickup, but I don't think the Ignite's strong. There's not too much healing on the side of Imperial. I know that Orianna in the mid lane has picked up Barrier, so you could put the argument that you need one Ignite on the team, but if I was that Janna, I would have picked Exhaust.
Yeah, I feel like Janna isn't a type of champion that gets into range to Ignite often, or really shouldn't be in range anyway. But speaking of questionable summoner spells, we also see that Xerath on the other team has also taken Ignite. I'm not sure I would have picked that either, if I were him.
Yeah, it's going to be... That could be a very questionable choice by him, especially if Buff choose to put a lot of focus onto him. Channeling that CC with the Viot, maybe a Lissandra roam down. If I was Xerath, I'd worry I would have gone heal at least, maybe even take something like Cleanse to fight the heavy CC of Buff.
Yeah, definitely so. I even think an Exhaust wouldn't have been bad there, but he goes for the Ignite. It's going to be questionable. I don't feel like if you're a Xerath and you're in range to Ignite someone, you're probably in the wrong place. You probably shouldn't be there, so it will be interesting to see how he plays it. we will definitely see. Both top laners do take the same summoner spells, though, so there's no discrepancy there. And, yeah, other than that, we will see how it goes. We are about to get into the game. We can announce the teams.
Yeah, so on the blue side, we have Buff Warwick, our very own players. In the top lane, we have Salamander117 playing Sandra. Teams of... Sorry, things loading in, so I can't see the names at the moment. 1 second. Any minute now.
And this is when it doesn't work.
Yep. Oh, there we go, finally. So, once again, blue side, we have Buff Warwick. In the top laner, Salamander117 on Lysandra. In the jungle, we have 2 Salty playing Vi. In the mid lane, Something Wong on the Orianna. And the bot lane, Serato and Alazark on Jinx and Janna. And on the red side, we have Imperial Penguins. In the top lane, we have DS on the somewhat questionable Poppy pick. In the jungle, Aoxa on the Rek'Sai. Mid lane, Jay-Z with Xerath. And the bot lane, Cloud Senpai and Sups on Corki and Brawl.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see how this one plays out. Too Salty's decided to take his time about loading in. I guess he's feeling a little bit salty already. Although we've been fairly complimentary of Warwick's team comp, we have to say.
Yeah, looking at this, they have the more cohesive unit. They've got the more sort of team fight present. They've got the CC. They also have the AoE damage. And if they pull off the execution of a good initiation, they should be able to take it. But anything could happen. This Poppy pick could come out. If Imperial play the poke game well and avoid good initiations, then it's going to be really hard to get past the wall of Xerath Qs, Corki missiles, Braum with his huge shield. It could be tough for Warwick if Imperial managed to pull it off well.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to feel that the Rek'Sai needs to do well early, while Vi is a little bit down, I think, here.
Yeah, I think jungle is going to play a huge pivotal point in this in the way this game goes. Like, if Vi can put a lot of pressure, especially on that mid lane, with the Xerath with only a flash, then it could spell disaster for Imperial with a fed Orianna on the side of Warwick. But the other way around, if Rek'Sai can put a lot of pressure on any of the lanes and get a fed Corki, a fed Xerath, or a fed Poppy, then that's going to be a really hard barrier for Warwick to break through.
Yeah, definitely so. And it does look like we're all at 100% now, so any day now they should be spawning onto the Rift, and there we go. So let's see how things play out. I don't know why it does this.
I assure you we're not 15 minutes into this game.
No,
so
definitely not. We'll just have to wait for it to load. It takes a little while to buffer, which is unfortunate, actually. Okay, well, we're waiting. While we wait for them to load onto the Rift, we will see if there is a 2v1 chance coming. Yeah, we'll move them around. There we go. There it goes. Alright, items are being bought. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We have junglers picking up their machetes. We have top laners. Well, Xerath hasn't got anything yet. Oh, and Xerath is going for the Doran's ring against the Orianna. Yep, every lane is pretty much matching up well. I like the fact that Poppy picked up Flask. She definitely has some troubles with mana issues, so that will definitely be helpful in that way.
The only questionable thing I will want to question is the choice of a Ruby Crystal from Janna. Definitely not a conventional pickup at the start of the game. I would like to see more of a what everyone builds into Frost Queens, which is, the name escapes me at the moment, but for that and maybe even an amulet coin. I can see where she's coming from, where she wants to survive against the heavy damage of Corki Braum, but they could just go for a passive lane, just get farm up, let units get to the mid and late game, and I feel that more sort of standard support items would have helped that better.
Yeah, definitely so. We'll see how it goes. She's definitely going to hamper her own build in some way because she's just not getting the gold gen item that you usually start with as a support. So we'll definitely see how that plays out. If they're going to play aggressive in the bot lane, I guess it could work out, but Janna's not exactly known for her aggression.
Yeah, exactly. I feel it better just stand back, get the passive gold from either of the 2 support items, just let the Jinx farm up, avoid the initiation with tornadoes and sort of slows and shields, and just sort of play it from there. They might want to go aggressive, but as you said, Janna's not the best champion for that, and I don't think it's a wise choice.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that plays out. Anyway, looking at the straight-up match head-to-head mid lane, how do you think that's going to play out? I mean, Xerath has the range advantage, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. If he can just land those Qs and land W's, going to be a lot of damage onto Orianna, and she can easily just get pushed under a tower and zoned out. But mid lane is not just a 1v1, and I think the jungle is going to be pivotal in how the mid lane plays out.
Yeah, we definitely have this. We're definitely on the same page there. So starting on the Krugs, starting on the bot side for both junglers, it looks like it's going to be a pretty standard route. They're going to move up, take a buff, and potentially move on to the next buff rather quickly. Warwick did ward out the red buff there on Imperial's side. I failed to notice that.
Yeah, so they're going to know where they start. They're going to know that they're basically mirror clear for both junglers. We're just clearing just the Krugs or Gromp, and then one buff, and then other side for the other buff. And let's just see what happens.
Yeah, definitely so. And straight away, Poppy's being pushed in. She really doesn't have much answer to that, to be honest. You could go a Hydra, I suppose, on Poppy, but obviously at the start of the game, we can't all start with a Hydra.
If only. Yeah, she's just going to get pushed up. Lissandra has the range advantage, and she has the wave clear advantage. And with the jungler not being able to gank early, you can see Rek'Sai backing after 2 camps. There's not been an early gank up that top lane, and so Salamander can just push him under and just keep him there and get farm up.
Yeah, that's rather interesting, actually, backing on Rek'Sai after the 3rd camp. He hits his level 2. He's only level 2 right now, and he picked up a machete and some pots rather than a new jungle item. Now, I imagine he didn't quite have the money. It now costs 450 gold. Correct me if I'm wrong. So perhaps he didn't quite have the new jungle item, but what do you expect him to be doing with that pink ward?
Yeah, I think he just wants to try and get it deep in the Warwick jungle, just sort of try and get the Vi's movement, just find out where it's going, see if he can avoid the gank mid lane that Warwick should be wanting to do. It did look like Rek'Sai had trouble clearing his wolves, the icon's still showing, and so I think Rek'Sai tried to go for those wolves, maybe took a bit too much damage. We saw in the first game, that Rek'Sai can die early to jungle, and maybe want to avoid that embarrassment on stream.
Yeah, maybe so. And we just saw Vi move up into the enemy jungle and ward over the red buff, which did alert Rek'Sai to her presence, so he does know what's going on. He probably assumes that the breath has been stolen now, but we will see what happens there. So that's pretty good from the jungler of Warwick there.
Yeah, it looks like the Vi has this sort of control over the jungle that they're going to want to sort of get this early game going in Warwick's favour.
Yeah, definitely so. And she's backing for a jungle item now, probably, so Rek'Sai will get his buff if he goes for it, but yes, he is going to assume that it's been taken, which is potentially not the correct move to do. He wards, the pink ward goes down in river, so now have vision of that. I guess Warwick could find themselves wanting to head towards it. We'll see.
Yeah, he is going over towards red now, see if it has been stolen. But if he doesn't take it, it could be a 3 buff start for Warwick, which would be very good for this Vi.
Yeah, definitely so. And it does look like Rek'Sai's starting off the game by simply farming, which I did say that the junglers really do need to have a big presence here, so we'll see how that goes. Interesting enough, Poppy is keeping up in farm with Lissandra, which isn't what I would expect it to be.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. You can see on the map she has been pushed under tower a lot. I don't know if this is a case of just very good tower farming from the Poppy, or maybe Lissandra missing a couple of farm. But if this keeps up, Poppy could not have such a hard time that we thought she would.
Yeah, definitely so. I wonder if there was a little bit too much respect for the jungler coming from Warwick's side there, but we'll see how it goes. And here's the first gank, the lovely stun onto the Orion. It actually will prevent his death, most likely, and he actually saves his flash as well, I believe. Yep, definitely so. So that's well played by mid lane there in Xerath, and it's rather unfortunate on Warwick's side, actually.
Yeah, it was a good gank, but I said it was a good stun out of Xerath. Avoid the need of a death or even the use of a summon spell, and he's going to live to fight another day.
Yeah, definitely so. And bot lane's fairly even right now. Corki will have a slight lead once he clears out that wave, but there's not too much to say about it. Actually, all lanes are pretty even, including the jungle, and we do see both junglers picking up the Stalker's Blade here. They want that chilling smite going down. Yeah,
I think that's the best choice, especially with the immobile mid laners of both Xerath and Orianna. The slows can make it even easier to gank, allow the mid laners to apply their CC and hopefully pick up a kill.
Yeah, I think that's definitely right. I think when you're playing junglers with decent sustain like Rek'Sai and to some extent Vi with her shield, you don't really need the extra health that you can get from the other smites. So chilling smite definitely makes sense to me. And Vi looks like she wants to back again, which is an interesting use of time.
Yeah, I feel T-Soldi hasn't made the most use of his time. Tried to go bot lane for a gank there. I feel Buff Warwick's bot lane initiated a bit early, and in the end of the day it is a Janna, like there's not too much lockdown. Initiation isn't that easy, and it didn't really come of anything.
Yeah, and Xerath's doing a very good job of hitting those stuns in the mid lane. We've seen it go down twice now, and the damage he can put out does tend to sting that Orianna a little bit.
Yeah, definitely, like, Xerath has to be like who can land their damage, basically.
Yeah, and it does look like Rek'Sai's moving in the middle, and is our camera going to change over? Yes, it will. There's the flash, and the minion! Oh, the minion gets in the way and stops the stun going down, which actually saves Orianna's life there. Oh, and there's the flash. This could be a 1-for-1. There's first blood going down, and the Xerath ult actually isn't enough damage. I think all 3 hit as well. I'm surprised. I guess the barrier came out there, actually.
Yeah, all 3 hit, but the shield combined with the barrier meant that Orianna did survive, and they pick up the kill, and Warwick go 1-0 up.
Yeah, that was actually a very nice little counter gank from Vi. It worked out very, very well. So, who are we to question the back? Anyway, bot lane seems to be fairly even right now. Like we said before, Braum and Corki is a strange strange mix-up, definitely, and it doesn't seem to be paying too much dividends for them right now.
Yeah, I think, as I said at the start, I think this bot lane is just going to be a farm fest, and that's why I did question the Ruby Crystal pickup. If Janna just went for Amulet Coin, she would have just got that passive gold. I feel that she hadn't needed the help at this early point. What trades there are, you just get sort of, the tornado just sort of stops any initiation, and you slow them down, and so bot's just going to be sort of a bit of poking back and forth, but most it's going to be farming.
Yeah, interesting enough, Janna actually hasn't used any of her pots, whilst Brom's used all of his. So there is actually a significant advantage in terms of health there, I suppose you could say, in bot lane. But Corki has got the pressure and has got the farm advantage as well, which you would expect from an early game Corki.
Yeah, definitely, especially on an immobile Jinx. Not going to be able to do much in the way of dodging the phosphorus bombs. So phosphorus bomb auto attack, that's going to be a huge chunk of damage onto the Jinx.
Yeah, definitely so. And Poppy's falling a little bit behind now, as you would expect, but it's not a significant amount, actually. I'm very impressed with the Poppy play so far.
Yeah, it's done a very good job of keeping them from farm, especially against the beast that is early game in Sun.
Yeah, and the bot lane hits 6 and they are going in, but it doesn't look like they can really take advantage of that. And that just shows the power of Janna, I suppose, the disengaged potential, even though she's not even 6 yet.
Yeah, exactly. Just using tornadoes, using the shield, using the slow. Just Imperial weren't able to get the damage out quick enough, weren't able to get the CC quick enough, and they didn't get the kill.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like if they picked a different champion, say a Graves or something with a slightly stronger spike at level 6 than Corki, then maybe they would have secured the kill there. But hindsight is 2020, and it's not really my place to say. So we'll see how this ends. And Vi is coming in for the gank. She does have ulti, and there it is, and that is going to be one dead. One dead Brom. Unfortunately, the kill goes over to Janna. I'm not sure that was necessary at all, especially since Brom didn't have flash, or had already used his flash. But a kill is a kill. And there Warwick go 2-0 up, and a decent 1k gold lead.
Yeah, it was a very good gank by the Vi. They just sort of used initiation bot, so Imperial maybe didn't have summoners, or didn't have the cooldowns on abilities out. They managed to get in, get the ulti, also blow the flash of Braum, which is very useful. And as I said, Janna getting the kill wasn't that great, but a kill's a kill, and they managed to transfer it to the dragon as well, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. And that first dragon is probably the most important one, to be honest, especially if the other team doesn't have it. 10% extra damage isn't too big early game, but if you can hold on to dragons and keep dragon control the entire game, then 10% does become a lot later on.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
And here we go. This is the power of Poppy. Now we have the claw. The knockup goes down. Poppy will be able to run this down, most likely. No, not quite. Okay, no. So Lissandra gets out fairly comfortably and actually probably puts more hurt down onto the two aggressors, which is kind of a shame for them.
Yeah, this is where I think the Poppy into Lissandra wasn't a good pickup. Poppy needs to get into melee range first of all, and Lissandra has such good abilities to stop that with the slows, with the roots, with the ult, and it's going to be really tough. You can see that even with the gank, they weren't able to put much hurt onto Lissandra at all.
No, not at all, and it does look like Oriana's going to pick up her blue buff, so Oriana could really be taking mid lane by storm soon, especially if Xerath doesn't actually get his blue buff.
Yeah, up a small bit of CS, got the kill advantage well, and now getting blue buff. Just be able to farm up, maybe push into tower and just keep the pressure up.
Yeah, definitely so. And Sarah's doing a good job of poking out the Oriana, but with the Oriana shields, and now that she's got a little bit of AP and a little bit more wave clear potential, she's doing fairly well and keeping up well.
Yeah, and looking at items, they both have the Phoenix Codex, and it looks like Xerath is going to be going for the item, which I can't remember.
Morellinomicon.
I was thinking more of the one with Mana Chalice.
Oh, Chalice.
Because he has the double fairy charm.
Yeah, so I'd definitely like to see the Athenes on Xerath. I feel like against the Lissandra and an Oriana, the double AP, you probably want that extra bit of magic resist that Athenes can give you, so I would like to see him go for that. Whereas Oriana can probably make an argument for going straight Morellinomicon and being a little bit raw greedy.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with the poke and just sort of way that Xerath's going to want to play, just standing back and chucking out abilities left, right and centre. The mana regen Athenes bring as well is going to be really crucial.
Here comes 2Soldier again for a repeat gank, and no ult this time.
There's a great knockup by Braum, knocked up, jump away, got out of range of the ult, and they don't die.
No, they don't die, but they do spend Braum ult, which could spell a repeat gank for Vi, who is swinging back round. I'm not sure she's spotted by that ward in the river. No, but she's not. But they are playing very safe, so she will back off. Yep, it does look like Rek'Sai is trying to make something happen mid lane, but I mean, it's almost too little too late now that Oriana's flash is back up.
Yeah, I feel that the Rek'Sai hasn't made too much an impact. You can definitely see the Vi has had a much bigger impact getting at the 2 kills. Rek'Sai did die mid lane, but pretty much all that's happened so far to Rek'Sai is a death mid lane and a failed gank top lane, where Vi's put a lot of pressure mid lane, 2 ganks bot lane, and you can see it's made a clear difference in the scoreboard.
Yeah, and if we look at gold through the team, you can see that actually Corki's a little bit ahead of the Jinx in bot lane, and that's almost entirely down to just farm differential. So well done to Corki, I suppose, there. But like I said before, you would expect a Corki to win the early game a little bit, and Jinx is going to clearly outscale him.
Yeah, definitely. Corki is a lane bully with the phosphorus bomb and auto attack, and with the Braum as well. Warwick have a much more passive lane. They just want to farm up, and even though they are a bit behind, Jinx has the assist, and Jinx is going to just scale a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Janna has already changed that Ruby Crystal into a Sightstone, and actually is a little bit of gold ahead of Braum, albeit she does have a kill to her name. So maybe that was part of the plan. Maybe they gave that kill early over to Janna because they knew that she needed the gold help.
Yeah, maybe. She has picked up the second gold generate item that builds that random coin, and so she's going to be going for the talisman, which I think is very good.
Yep, and they're going to engage on Braum, and even with his shield and his manly heart, he's going to die. And once again, Janna takes the kill. You got to question that a little bit. This greedy Janna's going to take all the kills, but it's okay because Janna's the AD carry, right?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure support Jinx is pretty good in this meta.
Yeah, definitely so. And I would like to point out that I don't feel that Crit Cloak's second item is ever really a good idea on an AD carry. I feel like the AD is much more important. So
yeah, definitely. Early game, that sort of 10% crit is going to have such little effect. It's only, what, 145 gold more for that pickaxe? I feel she could have easily waited for that.
Yeah, and if you don't have the gold and you're forced to back, I still think they're a better pickup. You could buy another Doran's Ring, another boots, even boots if necessary. I feel like there's something more you can do, especially boots against the Corki is definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely with the Braum as well. They've got a lot of skill shots. I think we just could have picked up boots and the Doran's Ring, get a bit more health, get the movement speed. I think that would be doing much better than Crit.
And if she dies here, I mean, this will be oh no, and yeah, Janna is on the killing spree. That's what you'd expect from Janna.
These Janna kills, man. She is 3 for 0.
And that's a lovely ult, actually. Mid-tunnel, no less. That's pretty damn good. And this time Jinx finally takes up a kill, and that's going to be another kill going over to Jinx. This time they do leave it. Janna forgets to auto-attack this time, I suppose. And yeah, that's a commanding lead for Warwick, definitely so.
Yeah, it was a great turn of events. The teleport from Lissandra, I don't know, Poppy's teleport was on cooldown, so managed to come down, turn it into a 4v3. A great early pickup on Corki with a flash ult from Jinx, and they just cleaned everyone else up, and they're going to get a tower as well.
Yeah, and that's really indicative of how the top lane is going. I mean, Lissandra really does have control of where she pushes it and how it goes. So we'll see if Poppy can just simply outscale later on in the game. She does look like she's going for Triforce right now.
Yeah, she has managed to get a bit of a farm advantage and got a lot of damage from the turret, but the 2 assists for Lissandra, as well as the tower bot lane, is a very good trade for Warwick.
Yep, and we did see Orianna whiff her ult there, but not too big a deal. It's very much a farm lane, mid lane right now.
Yeah, she also blew the flash of Xerath, so whenever Vi's ulti comes up, if he can have a visit mid, this could spell a death for Xerath.
Yep, definitely so. And Vi is doing a lot of work, actually. 005 right now. She has her license to kill. Not quite the 007.
And not quite the 3 kills that Janna has either.
No, well, Janna's the carry, so we would expect that from her. And, oh, if that stun had landed, then she was definitely dead here. We don't have an awful lot of mana on this Orianna. I'm not sure she should be sticking around with about 200 health and 10 mana left, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what she was expecting to do there. Maybe chuck out 1 Q, but it was very risky, especially with the Rek'Sai and Xerath hanging around.
Yeah, but they actually do have a chance to claim control of Dragon here, even with Lissandra around. Although Poppy is still up in the top lane, she's going to back and probably teleport in by the looks of it.
Yeah, and I think with Orianna has gone back though, so if this gives them a chance for Imperial to move in, get the vision down, and maybe make the pick at the start of the fight that they need to sort of get control of this objective.
Yeah, and they really are going to need that pick, being 6 kills down and 3k behind. They really do need to break a pick. They cannot choose the 5v5 fight.
Yeah, Xerath also hasn't got a blue buff, half man at the moment. They aren't going to be able to stall this out and poke away like they'd want to.
Yeah, and Orianna is almost back there, and I feel like the time has almost run out for Imperial here. There's not an awful lot they can do, and with Orianna ult, Lissandra ult, Vi ult, and Jinx ult, there's almost nothing you can do if you're in their case. And there goes the Vi right now. The Orianna ball not quite on it, but that's a lovely 3-man Orianna ult. And Poppy is running down Jinx, unfortunately. Yeah, Jinx is playing pretty well, and over in this side, we just see Imperial really just getting cleaned up. Poppy will pick up that kill, but she might get the kill. Yep, that's 2 kills for Poppy. Can she clean up the entire thing? That's a lot of damage, though, and that will sway her away. But not a bad fight for Imperial, things considered. That is a 3 for 2, actually, in favour of Imperial, which does surprise me.
Yeah, that started off very well for Warwick. They picked up 2 early kills onto the Braum and the Rek'Sai, and it looked like they were going to clean up. But the problem was there was only Janna to left for Peel for the Poppy, and Poppy just chased down Jinx, got the kill on her, then finished off to Janna, and Imperial actually ended up with a 3-for-2 fight.
Yeah, and unfortunately Jinx didn't get her ult off in that fight at all, and if she had, then that would have wrecked the entire team on Imperial's side, so it's a little unfortunate for Warwick, I guess, but Poppy played that very well, actually, diving the Jinx and really taking it to her.
Yeah, the team was just split up. The front line of Warwick just wasn't anywhere near to help Peel for the Jinx, and she got taken down.
Yeah, definitely so. And surprisingly enough, despite being vi-ulted, Xerath actually got out alive, so kudos to him as well, even with the little mana he had.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I feel a slightly bad focus from the Warwick team. They did take down 2, but it was the jungler and the support. They need to be focusing these sort of onto the Xerath, who's going to get a lot of damage out, and onto the Poppy, who's going to be just on their back line. Yeah,
perhaps a little bit of miscommunication there. I think they would have wanted to get the Orianna ball onto Vi before she went flying in.
It does look like they are going to take up the Dragon with not much contention. And yeah, they get it for Dragon number 2.
Yep, and Poppy is rather scary right now with the Triforce complete. She can really put out a lot of damage, so Jinx got to be careful. All the champions on Warwick's side are going to have to be a little bit careful here.
Yeah, should have got that Triforce completed. She's up 20 farm, got the 2 kills, and if they don't keep sort of a track of her, she really could sort of run wide.
Yeah, and she's actually managed to pick up a 20 CS lead on the Lissandra, which is actually really very impressive. You wouldn't imagine that, but I wonder if that's indicative of how much Lissandra has been roaming this game.
Yeah, Lissandra did go bot and get the 2 kills for the Janna, and that's probably mainly the reason why Poppy was able to get that CS advantage.
Yeah, I think so too. And Janna does manage to pick up Talisman of Ascension with all that kill money, so we'll see if she can really use that to help the team.
You can see here, this is where Imperial are going to excel though. They've got the poke out of the Corki and the Xerath. If they just keep Warwick under that turret, not able to engage, not able to poke back because of the Braum shield, they're just going to get them low and eventually they're going to get that turret.
Yeah, definitely so, and especially with Orianna backing, there's not really much wave clear on the side of Warwick. They have Jinx, they have Lissandra, but they really need the Orianna there to actually get things going.
Yeah, you can see the Warwick health bar just going down as well. Salamander on Lissandra at about a 3rd health. Serrato on the Jinx, half health already with low mana, so it's going to be tough, and they need to watch out. They need to either back off, and they need to get a good engagement.
Yeah, and luckily enough, we do actually get the wave cleared there. It's so low. I wonder why this Lissandra is still staying around, honestly. And it looks like they are looking for the combo, but honestly, without Lissandra there and with Jinx so low, I'm not sure how much they can expect it to do.
Yeah, exactly. One more Q from Xerath hitting Jinx, and maybe even going for an ult and go for the skill shots. That could easily be an easy kill, and then move down to
well, we're going in, and honestly, Vi was way too far ahead of her team here. And we have a very split focus going on. Lissandra gets 1, but yeah, and Janna flashes in. Jinx is still alive, but getting wrecked by Corki rockets, and there's not too much we can do there. Vi picks up 2 kills, which is pretty damn good, and although it's a very scrappy fight, it seems to have come out okay in Warwick's favour slightly. He's trading 3-2 backwards, so not a big fight, not a big win, not a big loss either.
Yeah, it was very sort of scattered from both teams. There wasn't much cohesion on either team's part. Poppy couldn't really dive back because the turret was there and she's going to get hit by that, so Jinx didn't die this time. Lissandra had just gone back as well, so had managed to pick up more items to help with the damage, TP'd in behind and got that ult onto Xerath, and that sort of allowed them just to pick up the kills. Yeah,
well, Poppy ulted Orianna that fight, and since Orianna died so quickly, her ult was basically useless, basically wasted there, and it's rather unfortunate for her. You can only ult who's close enough to you, so maybe she really does need to be diving someone that the team isn't focusing.
Yeah, exactly. You see in a less sort of spread out fight like they had in the jungle before, Poppy's just not allowed that free reign to kill Jinx like the last team fight.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, Corki managed to pick up a kill there, and so we'll see if he can convert that into some extra power. He has finished his Triforce, but Jinx is really almost items ahead, to be honest.
Yeah, is down a lot of CS, but she does have the extra kill and the extra 6 assists. And if she keeps up like this, she's going to move into that late game and be a hell of a lot stronger than Corki's going to.
Yeah, and Corki does pick up a pickaxe there. He is only 500 gold behind, so it's surprising that his items appear to be so distinctly different. But I suppose the Sork shoes are a little bit more expensive than the Berserker Greaves, so we'll see how it plays out. He has actually sold his Doran's Blade as well.
Yeah, that's a very unusual thing to happen. That 60 health might seem like a lot, but especially against a Vi and Orianna, that could spell the difference between life and death in a team fight.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the Corki pick in the sense that he can self-pill for himself in some way, which is pretty damn necessary against Lissandra and Vi, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Warwick do have quite a slight advantage, sort of 4k gold up, also 3 turrets to nil on the side of Warwick, and so it's a very good chance for them just to get the vision down and force the fights that they want.
Yeah, and Poppy really isn't having a good time against the Lysandra up here. She's really struggling to get on her to begin with, to be honest.
Yeah, that's why I'm always going to question this Poppy pick. She is doing alright in sort of other aspects of the game in these team fights, but the laning, she can't do much against Orianna.
They really do try and go deep for this Xerath, and yeah, unfortunately they don't quite have the damage there. It's still a little bit too early in the game, and Poppy's probably going to clear. I'm surprised that didn't stun.
I really thought that was going to stun.
And yeah, well, we do get out, which is actually really, really fortunate for the Vi. That was a little bit deep for my liking, but it works out okay. I guess they just don't. Neither team really quite has the damage yet. We're still too early in the game, I suppose.
Yeah, they're not quite stacking up the CC well. Lysandra wasn't there to add the added burst on top of that wombo combo, and both teams make it out alive.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a slight differentiation in the build pass of the mid laners now. Both mid laners picked up Morel and Nomicon to begin with, but it does look like Orianna is going towards Zhonya's, while Xerath is potentially going for the more damage-heavy route with the needlessly large rod picked up.
Yeah, he definitely could convert that into a death cap. There is still a chance of him building a Zhonya as well, which is not a bad idea, especially with the Vi. He's going to be ulting him pretty much in every team fight. But Xerath, I think, needs that raw damage output, which death cap definitely brings.
Yeah, definitely. And if he's positioned well, he really shouldn't be in any place to be altered by Vi to begin with, really. So unless Vi can get a very good flank off.
Yeah, Dragon is up in 30 seconds, and the health bars of Warwick are very low with 3 members below half health. So they're going to need to go back to base and go back to Dragon, get the vision up so they can contest it when it comes up in 20 seconds.
Yeah, and it does look like they're doing just that. But Poppy managed to pick up the first tower for the Imperial Penguins of the game, and that's definitely 1 foot through the door, 1 foot back into this game.
Yeah, definitely. She also has TP advantage over Lysandra, and so if Salamander wants to go up top, there's no way for her to get down for Dragon, which has just spawned.
Yeah, and Orianna still hasn't managed the back because she needed to clear mid lane, so she's very low and pretty low on mana as well.
Yeah, I think this is bad play by Warwick. They had the time with the Dragon, they got the first one. They should have knew when it was up, and they should know that Lysandra, you need to be down here, and Orianna, you need to be here with full health.
Yep, and Lysandra is making her way down now, but it's potentially too little too late unless Vi goes for the steal here. Maybe the rocket steal again, but we don't really know. Oh, it was close, but no cigar, and it does look like Vi isn't going to be killed. Surprisingly, but I suppose they were coming around.
Yeah, exactly. Imperial just played it safe. They weren't entirely sure where all of Warwick were. They could have died. I feel they could have gone a bit more aggressive because they knew Orianna was low, but they got the Dragon pretty much free, and they're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Vi went for a second item, Sunfire Cape, and considering how much involvement she's had, she really has had the choice of items that she could wish for.
Yeah, I feel that's a very, very questionable item. Very little AD coming out of Imperial. You know, a bit of... But Corki has mixed damage anyway, and Poppy's not going to be killing Vi. I feel with the lead that Vi could have had, she could have gone for a better item, maybe gone for the Aegis to help support the team with all the mixed AoE damage, or maybe gone more offensive in the Triforce to just get that burst and kill one mechanic.
Yeah, I think either of those options may have been a little bit better here, but we'll see how it plays out for the Vi. So once again, we're posturing around the mid lane. It seems to be a lot of what we're doing. I guess we like playing ARAMs in this game.
Yeah, definitely, and it does sort of favour both teams. Warwick want to be in that 5v5 so they can get the combo off, and Imperial want to be in that lane getting the poke down and sieging up. It's just going to depend who can execute it better.
Yeah, definitely. We finally see Orianna going back to base to heal up and try and come back to wave clear, I suppose. And yeah, they might need her very quickly because this tower isn't going to last too long with the... Nope. And they do manage to clear. I'm surprised. Yes, I would really punish that Vi if I were you. Yep, good job. And... fancy feet, managed to get out. That's the Orianna ult there, and that should be the tower for Imperial as long as they don't go too deep or too hard.
Yeah, Lysandra is flanking around the back though, but the rest of Warwick is pretty damn low. Not much abilities up either, so I don't think we're going to get an initiation.
No, I really do feel like they're in trouble here, Warwick. But we're diving too deep again from Imperial by chance, and Lysandra didn't actually follow it in, and Poppy's gonna... Yeah, Poppy does damage.
Is Janna be able to pick up the kill?
The minions may though.
Janna does pick it up.
Very good. And here's the Vial. That should be a free kill. Yep, nicely done. And again, Imperial dived a little bit too deep and stayed around a little bit too long. And Warwick were able to punish it in a sense, but they did give up the tower to do so.
Yeah, I feel they're just not they're getting the poke down well, they're getting all the Warwick down to half health, and then they go for a really sort of half-assed initiation, where half of them are diving, a few are staying back, they don't pick up the kills, then they hung around with no health, no mana, no cooldowns, and Warwick had time to go back, Lissandra flanked around the side, and they just pick up 2 kills.
Yeah, and it just goes to show how difficult it is for Imperial to actually engage. They picked out a very poke-heavy team comp and the Poppy, and really, Brom's engage isn't what you need. It's not a Vi engage at all.
Yeah, definitely not. Brom's going to sort of stand at the back line, maybe jump in and get an ult off, but it's not the heavy initiation that a Vi's going to bring, and it ends up with Poppy diving the back line alone, just getting peeled off, while Xerath and Corki just can't get the damage on the members of Warwick that they need to.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that they do very well posturing around and poking when they're playing the team comp as they should, but as soon as they try and fight, it becomes a little bit of an issue for them.
Yeah, and you've got to wonder sort of if that is just in their team composition or the execution sort of. I think Warwick have done well to sort of get a heavy initiation comp and counter it, and you can see if they just get a good riot off, they can just combo it with the damage and they're just going to win most of the team fights.
But I still feel like both teams are a little bit questioning on when to pull the trigger and when they need to. Warwick, especially with all the engage, they tend to get poked down before they can engage and then realise they can't, and it seems to be happening a lot. I'd like to see them all be ready for the engage and on the same page at the same time.
Yeah, I feel the execution has been very sort of just sloppy and not with much cohesion. They all need to be there at full health at the same time and then just all pull the trigger at once. You've seen a lot of times Orianna's been very low, Jinx has been very low, and then after one of them go back, they sort of get a very sort of poor sloppy initiation, and if Imperial were sort of more together, they could punish it a lot harder.
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out that Corki is now a good 70 farm ahead of the Jinx, and that just goes to show how little farming Jinx has been able to do. When they're in this 5v5 situation and you have the Orianna and the Lissandra clearing the waves, Jinx really isn't able to pick up any farm, and she's just fallen further and further behind this Corki now.
Yeah, they're just forcing all 5 members of Warwick to be mid lane, farm under turret, and they're just not going to farm as much. You can see, even though there's a 70 CS difference in the bot lane, that isn't picked up anywhere else. Top lane's even on farm, mid lane's pretty much dead even on farm, jungle's up 20, but that's not the difference that is there in the bot lane. Yeah,
and I really do feel they need to channel some farm onto this Jinx soon, because they really need her to hit her power spike, and they're going again!
Great ult by Orianna, hits the 2, Xerath does manage to flash out the pick up from Corki and Janna, and can they just clean up?
Yeah, and unfortunately, they're not quite all there. They weren't all on the same page. And it was a 5v4 when all things said and done. And this Poppy is just going to run them down, even without any mana. I don't think she has enough mana for the Q, though. Yeah, and there we go. That was a very sloppy engage by Warwick, and that's the ace coming out from Imperial. And you've got to question whether that was just too hard.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good... They got the good Orianna on 2 or 3 of them, got Xerath very low, but there was no follow-up from Lissandra. Jinx was being peeled off by Poppy, and they just couldn't finish one off, and Poppy was allowed just to run riot. Corki was even untouched in that whole fight.
Yeah, it's a questionable decision. I mean, they still don't quite have the damage to blow up this Xerath, and if he ever does complete a Zhonya's, you've got to really ask, hang on, what are we doing here? What's our actual game plan?
Yeah, they need all 5 of them there. If Lissandra dived on that back line as well, that'd be a dead Xerath and a dead Rek'Sai. Then they could peel back, kite away the Poppy and clean up the fight, but that just didn't happen.
Yeah, definitely so. And with the Lissandra and the Vial, you can definitely lock down both carries at the same time, and then, well, where does the damage come from, Imperial?
Yeah, it's very, like... It just shows how sort of quite poor the execution from Buff has been. With that heavy lockdown and with the Xerath without a flash, he should not be surviving any fight. But he has only died once in this entire game.
Yeah, definitely so. But it does look like Buff is going to take themselves a dragon, although it was actually very, very close. Now, this is where Jinx is not quite... Jinx being so weak right now is very questionable. Although Corki did go for a second item, not Trinity Force, sorry, Infinity Edge, which you don't see on a lot of Corkis.
Yeah, that's quite surprising. I would like maybe a slightly different pickup, but he's doing alright. There's not much damage going down onto him, so he's able just to get those crits and get the Phosphorus bombs with the Sheen proc, and I think he is putting out the damage.
Yeah, definitely so, but Infinity Edge and Triforce is a very expensive, greedy build, and Warwick have kind of just let him do that, and that's just indicative of how much farm the Jinx has managed to lose on the Corki.
Yeah, Corki's been free farm all day, got that 6 CS lead, and he's just got more items. He's got another BF sword, which I assume he's going to pull into a Bloodthirster maybe, get that shield, get the even bigger burst on his abilities down. I think it's a good pickup.
Yeah, definitely so. And the gold lead is only 500 now, and that's down from the several thousand it was earlier. And I think it just shows that Warwick really hasn't been getting their engages they need to off, and they've really been trying to force them way too hard. But Jinx is pushing down the mid lane. We may be able to get something in return from this tower loss down the bottom.
Yeah, I feel it's just been a lack of synergy between buff Warwick. They've all been in different places at different times. They've all been at different healths at different times, and they haven't managed to get the initiatives that they need to defeat this Imperial team.
Yeah, and Imperial's playing very well in keeping themselves alive, and they definitely do have the damage to kill this Jinx, which is kind of the same thing we said earlier, and Poppy is really wrecking havoc right now, wreaking havoc.
Yeah, she's a freak. She's get on the back line, do a lot of damage, and you see here, Warwick is caught out of position, and they lose 2 members for nothing.
Yeah, and both their carries are going to go down here for absolutely no reason at all. That's another kill over to Poppy, but they do respond by pushing down bot lane, which is the correct response in my eyes.
Yeah, they were there. I feel it was a bad call to be down in the first place, but they made the most out of it when the rest of Imperial were chasing their 2 carries, and they did get the turret, so it's not the worst trade they could have got.
Yeah, and if you look at the gold, they've actually managed to extend their lead a tiny bit, so it does seem like it was a good trade in that sense, but they are starting up Baron now, which is a questionable call without your Corki. Poppy does put out a lot of damage.
Yeah, I'm going to see if they do have the tankiness there, the wreck side, but you can see Baron's not going down very fast. Xerath brings next to no sort of DPS to the fight. Corki's not there, and if they're not careful, Warwick's going to come in and get initiation and get the damage in.
Yeah, and there's the Jinx ults. They do know, and they're running down now, but Baron is slowly going down. Vi's going to be there very soon. I actually think... Oh, is it down to the Smite War? And
the Smite's going,
the Smite is gone. Oh, the Smite came down early! And, oh, Warwick do take the Baron, so we'll take that.
There's a good job by Too Salty to end up ulting the Rek'Sai and get him down so his Smite wasn't there, and he did manage to pick up the Baron. It was very close, and they do trade 2 kills, but they get that Baron, and that's what they're going to need in these sieges. If they're, like, Imperial are not going to be able to push down mid lane anymore, because there's going to be super minions, and they're going to have that buff.
Yeah, definitely so, and it was a questionable call from Imperial, certainly, to go for the Baron so early on without the Corki, without the real damage there.
Yeah, I feel they didn't need to. Corki wasn't there, and in that enclosed space, if Warwick were faster, that could have gone a hell of a lot worse for Imperial.
Yeah, definitely so, but in the end, they only lose 1 and the Baron, so really no real success story there at all for Imperial.
Yeah, they're not gonna be happy with that, and their main avenue of sieging has been shut down now, and we're gonna need to see if Warwick can sort of push this in advantage and get the initiations off and maybe get a tower inhibitor with this Baron.
Yeah, definitely so. And I'd like to point out that despite being 0-5, there's only a 1 level differential between the 2 junglers, so Smite wasn't exactly the biggest difference there.
No, and I think Rek'Sai's done a good job to keep up in levels. How sort of the difference in usefulness between the 2 junglers in the early game, with Vi getting a lot of ganks off and Rek'Sai just sort of dying mid lane, he's done a very good job. Even though he's down 40 CS, he does still have the level even, and he's still going to be just as useful.
Yeah, I think so, but that was very good, well played by Vi there to take it. I'm pretty sure she put the Smite down a little bit early, but he got the Baron in the end anyway. If you hadn't got Baron, maybe this would have turned out a lot worse. So we'll see if they can really use this Baron to utilise something.
Yeah, if Imperial got the Baron, that actually made their siege even stronger, and Warwick would have a really tough time fighting against it.
Yeah, and this time they actually have the Lissandra pushing up top lane, so I'd like to see Warwick make their way up, and they are indeed making their way up. They haven't really got control of this jungle, which is a little bit unfortunate, so Imperial are aware of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, they need to get the vision down in the jungle, and Lissandra split push is not a bad idea, but you've seen in previous fights, if she's not roaming down in time, they initiate without her there, and they just lose the fight.
Yeah, they're just focusing the tower here, and Poppy does pop her ult, but no one's really in range to get attacked by her, to get smacked around by the blue Yordle.
Yeah, and I think it looks like Warwick are a bit scared to get the initiation off. They know they've lost a couple of fights before, but they're ahead now. They just need to get the initiation off, get the damage and the CC down, all in one sort of unit, and they should win the fight. And they're just a bit hesitant there.
Yeah, but there's a tower picked up for Warwick, so that's something used with the Baron buff at the very least. It'll be nice to see if they can get a little bit more, but there's not too much time left on it.
Yeah, they've got about a minute and a half left on it, and so all inner turrets are taken out now, so all that's left is the inhibitor turrets. And let's see if they can get one of them.
Yeah, pushing against a Xerath and a Corki there is definitely going to be difficult, but Dragon spawns at 30 seconds. Let's see if they can find something down there.
Yeah, what Warwick needs to do now, they need to move into the enemy jungle, get the vision down, and then just control it. They can just wait for dragons, just pick up the next dragon, maybe the next 2 dragons, and if Imperial want to come out and contest them, they have to force them into the jungle, force them into a closed space, get the combo off and get these kills.
Yeah, but Imperial are definitely getting their vision down for this dragon, so they really do want to try and catch it if they can, but we will see how that goes. In a 5v5 fight, you've got to question whether or not Warwick are actually... Imperial are actually in a position to fight back.
Yeah, exactly. It's all going to come down to execution, though. You've seen in previous fights, if Warwick can get the Wombo coming down, they can do a hell of a lot of damage, and if they just get a bit more cohesion and blow up the Xerath and Corki early on, then they can peel the Poppy off and she's going to be useless. If that doesn't happen, you saw Imperial just run wild, Xerath just pops as much damage as he wants, and Poppy just kills the Jinx.
Yeah, and despite sitting in the bush there, they actually don't catch Vi with any CC at all, so... yeah, that was rather unfortunate for them. It does look like Warwick's just going to go for the dragon. They should definitely be careful here, because the dragon's damage does count for something.
Yeah, definitely. If they're getting low from the poke anyway, but it looks like they do pretty much take it for free, and Imperial are going to give it up.
Yeah, that's a questionable. I think with Xerath, you can definitely try and poke them, make it a little bit difficult for them. This is the kind of situation they like to be in. They're posturing around dragon, but there it goes, over to Warwick, and the Baron buff is gone, but it'll be the 4th dragon. So one more dragon, and... as everyone seems to be saying with this new patch, that could very well be the game.
Yeah, exactly. If Warwick can just control the game for the next 5 or 6 minutes, get that 5th dragon, then they'll then be able to get a really good team fight, possibly even dive under inhibitor turrets, and sort of get the kills they need to end this game.
Yeah, definitely. So, Jinx hasn't actually picked up any life steal yet, so if you do poke her down, she stays poked down.
Yeah, I think a Bloodthirster pickup should be next. She has got the BF sword, that will give her the life steal to survive the poke, and also the shield to survive the Poppy, which is very sort of... I think that'll be a very good pickup.
Yeah, I think so, and we'll see what Jinx does. I mean, it's definitely going to be difficult. Xerath is going to land things on you. There's not awful lot you can do about it every time.
Yeah, he is 514. He's got the death cap. He now has the zombies as well now, so he's going to be putting a hell of a lot of damage out. And with no magic resist on Jinx, you can see how much these Qs hurt.
Yeah, and I really think Warwick needs to regroup now. They need to back off. They have their waves pushing. They need to get top pushing. They need to get control of bot wave. And then they need to be ready to siege together.
Yeah, but I think one thing Warwick are lacking in this game has been vision control. For how much of a lead and how much of a turret lead they have very little vision in the Imperial half. They need to just get the vision down, watch out for the poke, and just control it until Dragon spawns.
Yeah, definitely so. It's important to note that this 5k gold lead isn't something that Imperial haven't pulled back before, and it's significantly less when you're at 60k to 55k than when you're 25 to 20k.
Yeah, definitely. And Imperial also have 2 more turrets to get, so if they manage to get a good fight and get those 2 turrets, they'll easily be even in gold.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. It does look like Warwick is slowly backing off. There's not a lot you can do. 5 men to secure this blue buff. I suppose they really, really want it.
Yeah, I think Imperial are just scared of the initiation, but as we've seen previously, Warwick aren't too happy to pull the trigger, and they've been a bit passive themselves. But we need to see if they can get the team fight off they need.
And I can understand Warwick being a bit questionable about their engages, because a lot of them have backfired on them, and that's why they're in this position where the kill score is close at the very least.
Yeah, they just need to... Most of the fights are a matter of just Lissandra not being there or Orianna being low on health. If they're just all there as 5 on full health with all their abilities up, it should be reasonably effective just to pull off their combo.
Yeah, definitely. And Baron is spawning in 30 seconds now, so we'll see if either team wants to try and go for that, although they really don't have pressure, either team.
Yeah, there's not much vision. There's no vision in the pit for either team. So if one of them can get in and control the vision, Warwick can do that well and transfer that into an initiation. Imperial can transfer that into poke down and sort of control of it that way. So it's going to be important whoever gets the vision down first.
Yeah, and we're 40 minutes into the game now. You've got to feel this game could actually turn easily with one team fight. The game could very well end with one good team fight right now.
Yeah, death times are going to be very high. Both of the teams are going to push very easily with the wave clear. And so if they get a kill on the Baron, they should be at least get an inhibitor, if not close out the game.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the case. So we'll see how they go. They're still posturing around, and we will see. Poppy is... well, I don't know. Poppy's waiting in a bush by the looks of it, but Lissandra doesn't seem too... oh! She had a ward on her, that would be why. You cannot kill the Poppy. Poppy passive is really saving... really does reduce the damage a lot.
Yeah, and a full combo and Poppy still was at half health.
Yeah, and that ult is actually huge from Lissandra. That's very insane. Rek'Sai does dive in by himself. I imagine that's not going to be pretty for him, and there he goes down. And this would more than likely be the Baron.
TP from Poppy managed to destroy Jinx, and just see the focus. They need to be peeling this Poppy off.
Yeah, this is exactly what Poppy wants. She wants to be fighting in a situation where she can run at whoever she wants, where she's not being focused by 5 people. That's when her ult is at the best, and it's smited by God. And he's taken down. So the 2 carries are still alive and still kicking, which is really quite a surprise. And I don't think they have the damage to do Baron here, having Jinx dead.
Yeah, you can just see the lack of coordination from Buff. They get these initiations, but no one is dropping. If you have a team with Vi, Jinx, Orianna, Lissandra, what you expect is an immediate kill on one of the carries from Imperial, but it's just not happening, and you can see how scrappy these fights are because of it.
Yeah, and they are going to take an inhibitor tower for this, so we've finally broken into the base of 40 minutes, which is at least a start to getting things back on track, but they cannot stay too long or they will be caught by the respawning Imperial.
Yeah, you can see, keep the pressure bot lane, and then Dragons up in 90 seconds, they can move in, keep the pressure there, maybe get initiation there, or go back to Baron and try and get a better team fight.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the thing. I think it's going to be all about Baron control right now, but Buff also have the option of pushing down bot lane and trying to get that in him.
Yeah, as a free inhib open, we've seen in the past they're not too good at these sort of lane sieges because they just seem to get poked out and it sort of makes their initiation harder, but it's definitely an avenue if they do find an opening there.
Yeah, so we'll see how this goes from here. 6k gold lead, 6.5k gold lead, and a lot of that is just the towers and the siege. I mean, Corki still managed to keep a 60 farm lead on the Jinx, but it doesn't really matter in all things. This is the point in the game where Corki's not as strong as Jinx is.
Yeah, and item-wise, you can see Jinx is a full item with the Last Whisper being picked up, and not much gold lead, but actually down on gold on the Corki, but she does have an item advantage on her, so you can see if Corki has some item to buy. He's only have 1300 gold, he does have expensive items I suppose, and he has had the boots upgrade. Yeah,
that's definitely the weakness of going Triforce and Infinity Edge, the two most expensive items in the game. He definitely makes everything else hard to get, and they are just going to start the Baron straight off, and I'm not sure if that's a sensible move against the Xerath.
Yeah, it's very risky because there's a lot of long range damage from the Imperial, but they are blowing up very fast with the damage.
Yeah, and Lissandra goes down before getting their ult off, which is definitely not what you want to see from Warwick's side of things. And Poppy now has free reign to really charge on the back line, and Vi can't do too much, and Poppy is just wrecking havoc back there, and this isn't good. This is going to be an ace for Imperial.
Yeah, but you see, it's the same thing that happened every single fight. In this fight, Jinx, Lissandra went in alone, Jinx was still attacking the Baron. She did pick it up, but when the whole of your team dies, it's not going to matter.
Oh, and Corgi misses the rocket there, but they do take at the Baron. Oh no, actually.
They get a kill onto the Poppy, so it was a 3-for-2 and they got the Baron, but once again, another sloppy fight from the side of Buff, and I think they're very lucky to come out the way they did.
Yeah, definitely, and Janet played a big part there in keeping Orianna alive, but we'll see how it goes from here. And they are pushing on to the Nexus Tower. They're knocking on the door. Do they want the Dragon, though? The pings go down. And yeah, it looks like they're going to back off. No, they are going to push down the middle. I think that's a more sensible thing to do here.
Yeah, I think Imperial really need control of this Dragon, though. If they sort of let it go, and Warwick managed to get that 5th Dragon, they're going to have a really hard time defending against that buffed up team.
Yeah, definitely. I really do think they need to back out now and prepare for that Dragon. Because if they don't, well, they could be seeing another 5v5, and maybe this time Lissandra will get her ult off.
Yeah, exactly. Warwick respawning up in sort of 5 seconds. Jinx is up. They should be able to make their way over. Well, Lissandra is going top, but she does have her TP.
And I think Lissandra's realised her mistake and is trying to make her way down, but I think it may be too little too late.
Yeah, they might be able to get a steal off from Orianna, but nope, gets taken away.
The TP is coming in though, and there's the Janna, and they do pick themselves up a kill now. You gotta there's fine. They didn't follow the claw in. They do get stunned up, and the Talisman of Ascension goes down. That's Surfer. Very nice engage.
Huge bio, but can they pick up the Xerath as it comes out of the zone?
Goodbye. Oh, hello.
They do pick up the Xerath there, and there's a good 2-for-0 on the side of Warwick.
Yeah, they should be able to get the inhibitor off that, especially with Jinx being reasonably... Well, Jinx's help. Jinx wasn't even there.
Yeah, it's a sort of 4v3. A good pickup, a really good Vial from 2 Salty. Managed to pick up that Xerath. And that's just what they needed.
Yep, and they're moving in towards that inhibitor now, and they should be able to pick it up. I don't feel that Poppy has enough damage to prevent 5 men from walking
this 1v5 isn't going to happen. They can just keep her off.
They can focus down that. And that is the first inhibitor of the game, finally going over to Warwick's side. And they will back off there. So now they have pressure there. You've got to try and get pressure in the top lane or the mid lane, I suppose.
Yeah, we need to push them on those lanes, control the sort of jungle again, and then just you can either try and siege up, or it might be a bit tough because Baron is going to run out soon, and Imperial still have a strong siege team, but they can just wait for the next dragon, get that 5th dragon, force a fight, or just choke them out and wait for a misplay from Imperial to get a strong initiation off.
Yeah, and it does look like top lane is actually pushing towards Imperial, so I'm not sure sending Lissandra up is entirely necessary, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, they could have left it there, wait for that sort of a really huge minion wave to slow push towards there, keep a lot of pressure mid, force someone from Imperial to go up to the top lane, and then force a fight 5v4 in the mid lane, but Lissandra is going there to make it push a bit faster.
Yeah, well, hopefully she does get that slow pushing, and then we can see some pressure on the mid lane. It's actually very difficult to push both the mid lane and the top lane because it's so easy to move between.
Yeah, especially with sort of Xerath with the range. If he can stand in the middle, he can hit both of them, so it's tough.
Yeah, Oriana's picking up the blue buff and making her way down now. Again, Vi initiates without the Oriana there, without most of her team there, and it's questionable because you don't get the kill, especially on someone tanky like Rom.
Yeah, she's ulted Rom out a hell of a lot of times in this game. I feel it's very questionable, especially with the fragile carries of Corki and Xerath on the backline.
Yeah, especially the Xerath there. And that's a huge rocket from Jinx there, taking away almost half of Xerath's health. That just goes to show Xerath in the wrong place takes a ton of damage and is not that difficult to burst, even with the Zhonya's.
Yeah, his position in this game has been very good though. The fact he's only died twice in this game with a multitude of team fights and the huge damage that Buff have, he's done a very good job positioning for the most part.
Yeah, definitely so. And they are now knocking on the door of this second in-hit tower. And they really do need to wait for those super minions to push in. Unfortunately, they're a long way from doing so.
Yeah, you can just see how easy it is for Imperial to defend. No matter they're so far behind, they don't have Baron, just the Xerath Qs and the Corki long-range missiles and bombs, they just clear away so easily.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate actually. That bot lane really does need to push in, especially when Imperial are so close to home that they can easily just heal up again.
Yeah, there is a huge wave pushing on the top lane, and they are going to send Poppy there, so it can't be a chance for Warwick to make a move.
Yeah, but again, the wave is just gone in an instant, and there's not an awful lot you can do if you're Warwick at this point.
Yeah, exactly. They're low again, they're getting poked out by the Xerath, and it's just quite an easy defense for Imperial.
Yeah, and I suppose you can make an argument for waiting for this 5th dragon, which Warwick is certainly ready for, but at the same time, there's not an awful lot they can do in this mid lane, and bot lane is finally pushing in, so maybe we can get something now, but is it too little too late?
Yeah, maybe. I think a big key thing to notice is they haven't cleared out vision of Imperial in their own jungle. You can see there's still 3 wards from Imperial.
That's a big ult from Ori though, and in comes the Rek'Sai. Janna tries to disengage, and Rek'Sai is down.
Jinx is just free at the back to get these rockets off, and can she get the resets and clean through?
Vi can go back in. Yep, that was well played by Vi. I can't believe we missed the ult. And this actually could very well be the game if they can pick up a couple more kills here. Poppy goes in, and Vi is just going to leave them to it. See you later, Poppy. And Poppy's just going to walk on out using her W. And, well, this could actually spell the end of the game, I think, here.
Super minions are knocking on the Nexus turrets of Imperial, and with the Jinx damage as well, they should be able to end out here. They get both turrets down, and can they get the Nexus?
Yeah, they got to be careful of this Poppy, though, because Poppy does do a lot of damage. But Jinx is being ignored. Jinx is hammering away on the Nexus, and that will be the game for Warwick. And it ends just like that in a snap. That was a long game.
Yeah, and you could just see with the team comp that Warwick have though, with the heavy burst and heavy CC, just in a click of an instant, they can just turn it, get a couple of kills, and end the game, especially with the Jinx with that turret damage.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you very much for joining us at Warwick League tonight, and we will be calling it a day there. Anything else you'd like to say?
I have been Rory Roysource Wiltshire, and with my co-host Tom Taraby's Coward. It's been a pleasure to cast, and hopefully we can do some more in the future.
Yeah. Until then, have a good night.